first you have to look at the US government balance sheet, and it's really very pathetic. It's just over $5 trillion with the largest asset being student debt, as we've talked about before, about 40+%, and they won't monetize that and can't. And then it's military, number two, air bases and guns and bullets, and they can't monetize that really. But land they could lease it out or put big hotels and amusement parks on national parks and start to generate income and monetize it. It's to receive income or value from an asset, really. And so if you look at gold, everyone's talking about that, held in the gold revaluation account and valued at $42.22 an ounce. They could market to market, and it goes from like 11 billion to 800 billion market to market at 2,900. The gold holdings, they could move it up to 24,000, like James Rickards says, and add $6 trillion free and clear to the Treasury general account, as every $4,000 increase in the price of gold adds $1 trillion free and clear to the TGA. It's taking assets and giving them value, putting them on the balance sheet and giving them value and finding ways to increase that value. So it was an interesting statement, especially in light with Judy Shelton saying on July 4th next year they will issue the 50-year treasuries backed by gold, the 250th year anniversary, and then Scott Bessent making that comment, who's, by the way, his largest personal holding is gold. So that's why me and a lot of others are saying, is it too coincidental that we're net importers of gold? We're seeing the largest delivery in the history of the COMEX happened on the February contract of nearly 6 million ounces, and JP Morgan delivering $4 billion in gold to the Treasury. And they say, Blythe Masters has said, and she used to run their desk, we don't buy it for the bank, we buy it for customers. So what customer has $4 billion in gold, $4 billion to buy gold? Is it the Treasury, the Fed? Who knows? But anyways, it just simply means turning these assets that are just sitting there, turning them into revenue or income or money. Literally, this has dominated everything for the most part. There's so many things that have happened in the first month of his administration, but yet we haven't seen the stuff in terms of how this is going to play out. But this rapid repatriation, it suggests a strategic shift towards monetization, and that's what Scott Bessent said, or something significant. I don't think it's just Basel III, the banks getting their balance sheet or getting that gold in possession to be in line with the Basel III Accord, where they have to have the physical possession of it. They can't use paper anymore. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's part of it. I don't think it's just tariffs. I don't think it's just covering the naked shorts. That's all part of it. I think it's much deeper than that. And there is a whale that is buying in New York. I mean, a massive whale when you see that kind of volume and that kind of repatriation. And one of the things that I found to be very interesting is, and let me just see if I can find the date before I say this, because I've talked about this. I just want to see if it tells me anywhere the date of when JP Morgan took over GLD, because this is a big deal. It's like all of these things are happening at the same time. Well, it's been a little bit longer than I had. They became an additional custodian in in December of 2022. I believe they and BlackRock just became the primary custodian recently. So you have JP Morgan controlling the ETFs, and we're net importers, massive deliveries, the biggest ever, massive deposits, as big as we've ever seen. Something's going down. That's what I would focus on. I mean, more than anything. And it's quiet on the BRICS front. We'll see how that all plays out. Look, you come up with ideas and thesis, and we realize that this is a very fluid world. Had Trump not won, the BRICS would be in overdrive. I don't think that they're backing away from their agenda. I just think they're being very quiet now after what the BIS did to them. I'm watching that. I just think there's a lot happening, and I would like to see how he plans on addressing our fiscal and monetary policies. I would venture to say that it will come out very soon because, the clock is ticking, and midterms are in 2 years. He's got to make these big moves now, before also the rest of the world figures out what he's doing and tries to counteract it. So I don't know exactly how to even answer that question, just to say that the Chinese curse says, may you live in interesting times. Ironically, these are far more fast-paced than it was during the last 4 years, which was the most change we've all ever lived through. This is going to be a different kind of change, a restructuring change, a reset type of environment where the master of bankruptcy and restructuring and the art of the deal, when only 7 or 8 trillion of the nearly 200 is owed to us, or owed to the rest of the world. It's all owed to us. So whatever he had in mind, if the whole thing we're going to reset for us in the United States, it's much easier to do that when a very small amount is owed to the rest of the world, when we can reset on ourselves and restructure here. I know that sounds crazy to even say it, but that's kind of where we're at right now in an environment where confidence and trust has been lost to a large degree. And just because Trump is in office, the people that would normally hold our treasuries have not found renewed confidence. The final chapters have not been written. So I guess I would just simply say, hopefully we'll find out what the real idea is between becoming a net importer and reshoring all of this gold, what the plans are. But that's really been dominating everything other than the changes that he's making societal. Maybe there'll be more to talk about next week. I'm sure there will be, but I'm paying attention, and anything pops up, I'll be the first to scream about it anyways. Well, I think you go way back in time, tariffs were very beneficial. If tariffs are actually being imposed to support a domestic manufacturing capacity, then yes. The thing is that much of what he's saying are not really tariffs. They're sanctions masquerading as tariffs. Threats. Do this or I'll do this. That's not a tariff to me. That is a sanction. And it can very well backfire. You're seeing that already in the way that China's pushing back. And other countries will push back as well. It will crystallize the resolve of the BRICS. I think there is justification in some respects for tariffs. It's not tit for tat. But the way that it's largely being done, to me, is not a tariff. It is a sanction, and that will have ramifications. I think after what's happened the last 4 years, a gesture of an olive branch and unification might be a better path. But who am I to question? He seems to be getting some of the results. You can see he threatened Mexico with it, and all of a sudden they're sending military to the border. And I saw just the other night they're stopping fentanyl and meth and cocaine and marijuana and weapons and all sorts of stuff just in the first couple of days coming across the southern border. God knows how much of that stuff is poured into the country over the last 4 years. So to some degree it works, and to some degree maybe that's what is needed. But in general, what we are seeing are not tariffs. Tariffs are used to support your manufacturing. We don't have anything in the way of manufacturing anymore. We've offshored it all. And, I think that can have negative consequences, and to some degree it probably will. But nonetheless, some of it seems to be working. So I guess we'll have to give him the benefit of the doubt this time, see how it all plays out. If I had my druthers with our neighbors to the north and the south, I would rather, find a way, instead of being told by politicians and state members of the State Department that it's not safe to go to Mexico right now. I would rather, do the olive branch method and ask for, joint help in solving this problem rather than threatening through sanctions masquerading as tariffs. I think the geopolitical side is getting very concerning to a degree. I mean, there are reports that Iran is just a few days away from having the capacity to build a nuclear bomb. What's going to happen there? You think Israel will let that happen? I don't. Will the U.S. get involved? Not sure. This is closer than people think. You look at what's happening with the BRICS, it's growing. They just brought in Indonesia as a full member. There's another 23 that have fully applied. Indonesia has the largest in-ground supply of nickel on the planet. Their president, Widodo, has called for an OPEC-style cartel of rare earths. As it is, China refines 100% of the rare earths. The Eurasian continent is responsible for 90+% of mining all the rare earths. It's a growing trend. You look at Russia and the Ukraine, and it's absolutely appalling and disgusting to me. Our involvement there, largely because if you listen to Senator Lindsey Graham, who comes out and says about 2 months ago that this war is about nothing but resources, that's what people are missing. He says, you know, Ukraine has the largest, they're the breadbasket of that area, and they're, you know, they supply wheat to most of the world from over there, and that they have the largest in-ground supply of rare earths, period, and, you know, trillions of dollars worth, and that's what it's all about. Well, what did Zelensky just say the other day to Trump? We'll give you our rare earths, just help us continue this stupidity, this war. Now there are rumors that, and again, they're just rumors. Are they true? Not sure, but rumors that you have US weaponry that was in the hands of the Ukraine that are being sold to the Mexican drug cartel, and they're ending up over there, and the CIA knows about it. I mean, reading all this kind of stuff, your head starts to spin. The geopolitical side of this is not over, and nor is this the end of China or the end of the BRICS. And I think that the moves that are being made have not done anything but to crystallize the resolve of the majority of the BRICS countries. There are others that are still playing the fence, like Saudi Arabia. I think they've chosen sides in reality, but they're still straddling the West. I think that this will be a very eventful, chaotic year. People probably are expecting a little more calm under the Trump administration. I don't think so. I think this will be a year of chaos. And I think obviously the hot points would be Iran, the Gaza area, of course, with the Russian-Ukraine war still happening. These are areas that are unresolved. And I don't think that you're going to see it just go away. Quite to the contrary. I think there's going to be things that will shock people. And I think really probably the scariest part of all, if I had to guess, would be what happens with Iran. Israel will not allow them to have a nuclear bomb when they publicly say that they want to wipe them off the face of the earth. And I think that ends up being something that has yet to even be factored into people's thinking. It's not over yet, in my opinion.